The Zephyrian armada stretched across the void like a metallic constellation, each ship gleaming with the cold precision of a species that had conquered 17 star systems without breaking stride. Admiral Vextar stood on the bridge of the flagship Dominion's edge, his 4 eyes scanning the tactical display with satisfaction. 300 vessels strong, bristling with plasma cannons and quantum disruptors, more than enough to reduce the single human craft ahead to cosmic dust. The human ship hung in space like a defiant insect before a hurricane. The laughing matter was barely 200 meters long, dwarfed by even the smallest Zephyrian destroyer. Its hull bore scorch marks from a dozen battles, patched with mismatched armor plating that spoke of hasty repairs in desperate circumstances. To Admiral Vextar's calculating mind, it represented everything inferior about this upstart species: crude engineering, reckless bravado, and an irritating tendency toward self-destruction. "Hail the human vessel," Vextar commanded, his voice carrying the authority of countless victories. The communication array crackled to life. "This is Admiral Vextar of the Zephyrian hegemony, commanding the 7th Conquest Fleet. You are hopelessly outmatched and surrounded. Surrender immediately and we will grant you the honor of a quick death. Resist and we will ensure your suffering stretches across solar cycles." Static filled the bridge for several heartbeats. Then, impossibly, the response came not as words, but as sound, a deep rumbling chuckle that grew into full-throated laughter. The human captain's mirth echoed through the communication system, rich and genuine, as if Vextar had just told the most amusing joke in the galaxy. The laughter went on for nearly 30 seconds before Captain Sarah Chen finally managed to speak. "Oh man, that's good. Solar cycles of suffering? Did you practice that line in the mirror, Admiral?" Vextar's mandibles clicked in confusion. In 17 campaigns, no species had ever responded to his ultimatums with amusement. Fear, anger, desperate bargaining. These were the expected reactions. But laughter? This was unprecedented. "You find your imminent destruction amusing, human?" Vextar asked. "I find your math amusing," Chen replied, her voice still carrying traces of mirth. 300 ships to take down one human vessel? Either you're the most cautious military commander in the galaxy, or you've heard stories about us and you're absolutely terrified. A ripple of unease passed through the Zephyrian bridge crew. Their admiral had indeed heard stories, whispered, reports from the few survivors of humanity's previous encounters with alien fleets, humans who turned cargo freighters into kamikaze weapons, human pilots who flew into black holes rather than surrender classified information, human ships that somehow kept fighting even after sustaining damage that should have vaporized them. "Your reputation for recklessness precedes you," Vextar admitted, "but recklessness cannot overcome such overwhelming odds." "Recklessness?" Chen's laugh returned, sharper this time. "Admiral, you're about to learn the difference between recklessness and innovation. Computer, initiate the Kobayashi Protocol." On the laughing matter, alarms began to sound. Captain Chen moved through her bridge with practiced efficiency, her crew of 12 matching her calm determination. They'd volunteered for this mission knowing full well it was likely a one-way trip. The Zephyrian advance fleet had to be stopped here, at the Kepler Junction, or they'd have a clear path to the Terran colonies. "Reactor modifications complete, Captain," reported Chief Engineer Martinez from below decks. "We're ready to give them the biggest surprise in human history." "What are you doing?" Vextar demanded, his sensors detecting massive energy fluctuations from the human vessel. "Something my species does better than anyone else in the galaxy," Chen replied. "We improvise." The laughing matter began to glow. Not the clean, controlled energy of standard propulsion systems, but something far more chaotic. The ship's fusion reactor, modified with stolen Zephyrian quantum technology and a healthy dose of human ingenuity, was doing something that every physics textbook in the galaxy said was impossible. "Admiral," reported the Zephyrian science officer, his voice tight with concern, "they're creating a controlled singularity within their ship's hull. The gravitational distortions are off the charts." Vextar's 4 eyes widened in horror. "They're weaponizing their own reactor core? Not weaponizing, Chen corrected cheerfully. We're turning it into the galaxy's most expensive party favor. You see, Admiral, humans have this saying, if you can't win, make sure the other guy loses too. The singularity within the laughing matter reached critical mass. Space began to bend around the human ship, creating gravitational eddies that pulled at the nearest Zephyrian vessels. Panic filled the alien communications channels as captains realized their ships were being drawn inexorably toward the growing anomaly. Impossible, Vextar roared. You'll destroy yourselves. Probably, Chen agreed. But we'll take at least half your fleet with us, and Admiral, the other human fleets monitoring this engagement are going to learn exactly how we did it. Next time you face humans, they'll be ready with their own gravitational surprises. The first Zephyrian destroyers began to buckle under the immense gravitational forces. Their quantum disruptors, so effective against conventional shields, were useless against the warped spacetime itself. Metal screamed as hulls compressed, and Admiral Vextar watched in horrified fascination as his conquest fleet was slowly consumed by a force his species had never even considered as a weapon. This is madness, he transmitted desperately. This is humanity, Chen replied, her voice growing fainter as her ship's communication systems began to fail. We don't just fight wars, Admiral. We rewrite the rules. The laughing matter disappeared into its own artificial black hole, taking 67 Zephyrian vessels with it. The gravitational anomaly collapsed moments later, leaving behind only debris and a profoundly shaken alien admiral. In the aftermath, as rescue ships collected survivors, Admiral Vextar filed his report with trembling claws. The Zephyrian High Command's response was swift and unanimous. All human-controlled systems were to be marked as forbidden zones. The conquest of this species was indefinitely postponed. Humanity had lost 1 ship and 12 brave souls, but their laughter had echoed across the galaxy, carrying a message that every alien species would remember. Humans didn't just fight to win. They fought to ensure that victory came at a price no sane species would ever be willing to pay again.